But I like the English water dragon thing much better than the Chinese or the Japanese dragons because it looked like it had enough muscles for the wings in its body. You know, the other stuff didn't look ornamental to me.
Right.
And I always thought
they
that
use
whole
magic to fly. These guys can actually fly.
Yeah. So, Mark, it's dragon time.
That's right.
We just come out with a new dragon, but we're going to go over old dragons, right?
Yep. And we came out with our 9th dragon this year.
What do we got here? I see a Dragon 1.
We have a Dragon 1. This takes us way back to, was it 92?
It wasn't in the 80s? It was in the 90s, was it?
It was in the 90s, which is long ago enough.
This particular guitar I played for years in a band called the Dragons with Ralph Perucci and a bunch of other wonderful musicians. And, you know, I ended up refinishing it and putting it in the archives, but this was the very first one I played for years.
Yeah.
I actually, at one point, made it a stereo guitar.
Oh, no kidding.
It was,
I didn't know you did that. How does that work, actually?
Well, at the time, it was a volume control and a volume control, and it was set up so I could literally go through 2 different amplifiers.
Oh,
it was an experiment. But, look, for me, it was a Dragon guitar and was part of, you know...
You could have made a prototype guitar to do an experiment on, but instead...
No, I did it to a Dragon and refinished it.
It's good to be the king.
Yeah, well, something like that. I don't know. It was the beginning of us doing this whole English water dragon thing, and I thought it was cool. I loved it. I wanted to do it. So, but good luck finding one of these now.
Yeah, no kidding. So when you were a kid, you wanted to do this, right?
Well, when I was a teenager,
you had a vision of it.
The first one was drawn by a friend of mine in Bowie named Eric Chamberlain. I wish I had the original drawing he did on his kitchen table, the very first idea, you know. But getting people to draw dragons for the fretboard, I'm not that kind of artist, you know.
Right.
But in terms of working with Larry Seifel and Pearlworks, you know, to do this was the beginning of computer-controlled cutting out of inlays and doing all the parts and all that stuff. I just thought it was fun.
So when Larry told you he had this new technology for doing super detailed inlays, your mind instantly went to the Dragon? Or?
No, he said, I'm going to change the face of inlay work. We're not going to be cutting the stuff out with handsaws anymore. We're going to be cutting them out with CNC machines. And he said, I'm going to change inlay work. And we went to lunch, and I just thought it was a good idea.
So these came before the McCartys, right?
Well, this was the original 22-fret McCarty. This was it. I remember very clearly doing this, and then, you know, David Grissom called with the idea for the McCarty, and we ended up doing that. But the Dragon was the first 22-fret guitar. So
right, and the first one with this
when
bridge.
you cut 2 frets off, you have to move everything in, and then you have to move this pickup back and the bridge back. This stays in the same spot.
Right.
So there was more space between the pickups. Look, it was good fun, and I'm really glad we did it.
Yeah. And this was the first time we used this bridge, right?
The anodized?
Or no, the one-piece wraparound. Did we use it before that?
I think so. It was close to that.
Yeah.
It was close to that. It was the beginning of putting covers on pickups, too. It was a lot of little beginnings.
Yeah.
Lots of little beginnings. So, Mark, you know this was in the Airheads movie, right?
I do.
I want me a PRS guitar with the Dragon inlay.
Nice.
What happened was, we didn't want them to destroy a real dragon, so we took a photograph of the dragon and blew it up exactly the same size as the fretboard and cut each of the pieces of photograph out and laid them in between the frets of a regular guitar. Come to find out, somebody, after the Airheads movie was over, found the guitar and sold it with the taped on stuff. I went crazy. I was like, that was the whole deal. Don't do it.
We eventually got it back, right? We had it in the cage downstairs.
No. They used the real Dragon, but the smash Dragon with the photographs ended up in the dumpster.
Right.
And somebody took it out of the dumpster, glued it back together, and tried to sell it on eBay, which I was like, oh my God. But you know, the fact that the one thing they wanted for the ransom was a dragon, PRS Dragon, which was very cool.
Oh, yeah. What? It's not turned on.
But he ain't giving us no juice.
What, are you yanking me?
So why don't we go on? What else is here?
We have a Dragon 2, which was the very next year.
Really? The very next year?
It was.
well, we can't do that anymore.
1, 2, and 3 came out right after each other,
Yeah,
which is
well.
crazy to think, but we did it.
Oh, there you go. This is the one that David drew, right?
Yep.
Cool. It's a very different dragon. That was the beginning of putting gold parts in.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. And was this indigo that faded? No,
Yeah.
it's green.
Well, no, it was the same. It was a blue-green, and it faded. Look, these dyes are organic. Like if you leave your couch in the sunlight coming in from the living room, it'll slowly fade.
Right.
It's just kind of normal. And for me, slowly learning about putting inhibitors in so that this didn't
the UV
happen and
inhibitors.
all that stuff.
Right.
And we were using the best tops. I mean, that's an outrageous top on that.
Yeah, we
guitar.
were picking the choice tone woods and beautiful
that stuff.
figure and
This, and it's interesting. That's pure gold for the inlay
Right.
in the headstock, but we sanded it so that the paint would stick to it, so it's not buffed out.
oh yeah,
Where the little parts in the fretboard were buffed out.
right. You remember it was the Dragon 1, but we did it all. Every piece of it was
Gold.
solid gold.
Yeah, well,
And they told us to put the bag on the floor sander to catch it, and we were like reclaiming hundreds of dollars worth of gold.
are you serious?
Yeah, after
when you rounded
they
the
radiused
fretboard?
the fingerboard,
I didn't know that.
It was hundreds of dollars worth of gold that went into that bag.
That's great. So the Dragon 3 that we have for archives, from what I understand, is in a museum right now, right?
It is. It's in the National Guitar Museum. Their traveling show.
Several days later.
Andrew reached out to the National Guitar Museum and got our Dragon 3 bag, which is what we have here, so that we can take a look at it and talk about it.
I remember that guitar.
Really had a thing for teal black the first couple of Dragons, huh?
Yeah, why not? Look, there's been so much color research in this building since this day, but there weren't teal black guitars until these things showed up.
Yep. Yeah, it was very different.
So Dragon 3 is one of my favorite. I've always loved gold and blue
Yeah, that's
wings.
one of the coolest details for sure.
And the real mammoth ivory that was in the teeth coming out of his body and all the other stuff. I just thought this thing was wonderful. I'm glad we got it back.
Yeah.
Does that complete all the videos that we have to do on Dragons?
It does. This is the last one of the 9. We covered
So
all
what
the
are you
rest of them.
pointing at?
I'm pointing at these permanent shadows from the tuning pegs.
Oh, that's hysterical. So the light hit it from being in a museum,
Right.
and the dark, and it lightened everything except where the light. That's
Where the
great.
shadow was.
That's wonderful.
I was looking at it.
Can
when
we get a real close up of that?
I was looking at it when I was photographing it, and I was like, "Why are there shadows under there?" Because the light's coming from the side.
Yeah.
And I got close, and I was like, "Oh, no kidding."
I'm glad the top didn't fade very much. That's cool. I mean, by that assessment, this is going to be slightly different under the knobs too, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's still
Look,
in good shape.
it's
though.
one of my favorites. The Dragon 3 is just one of my favorites. It's very cool.
It's a good one.
So that would be 1, 2, 3, one year after another.
Yep.
Which one's this one?
This is the Dragon 2000. So after the Dragon 3,
Oh, you know what's cool about this? I remember when the first body showed up in my office without the stain.
Yep.
And it just, with all the super glue on it, it had all this clear on it, and it
Yeah.
exploded. And we were all like, oh, I mean, people were like squawking. It was
I
making
remember it. Yeah, it was crazy. It's unbelievable how they inlay on that carved surface. They had to step the
step it down.
inlay, so they're all different thicknesses.
So this inlay is in the body, and then this is the wood just stained a different color.
Right.
Just nothing but good fun. There's also this sunbursting that happened
Yep.
around the body.
Yeah, to really make it pop.
Yeah. This is real mastodon ivory. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Back when they could tell the difference between elephant ivory and mastodon ivory. Now they
Now they can't.
They can't.
It's a shame because it's a really
It's
gorgeous
really cool.
inlay.
All right, let's get out another dragon. So, Mark, which one's this one?
This one is the Dragon 2002, right? Oh yeah, that's when we got really crazy.
You know what the idea in this one was? in Jurassic Park when the Tyrannosaurus Rex is looking in the window
Yeah.
of the Volkswagen, right?
Nice.
And I always thought that was really cool.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And all this bursting. It was
Yeah.
a huge
That was
amount
so
of
much work.
So much work, I know, but it was cool. You know, they bursted all the teeth. It was all this stuff, right?
Yeah, all that masking and spraying and
But it was cool.
yeah.
And I liked that the inlay went up onto the neck.
Yep.
And they did a really good job matching up where the body comes, you know. All right, so there's 2002. So Mark, look at this. The scene,
That's
the
really
guitar,
sad.
the guitar got loose from the jig,
Right.
and the CNC ate it. that's the big milling machine, the big numeric control. It just, you know.
The cool thing about this is you can see how different it looks without all the airbrushing and the finish and stuff, and it's amazing looking. But then it's just so much more moody
The other
after
way.
all the airbrushing.
All right, so let's go on.
I think this one's my favorite.
So Mark, what do we got here?
This one is the 20th anniversary dragon.
I call it double neck.
It's the
dragon.
double neck dragon, but it was for our 20th anniversary.
So I remember calling Easley. He says, "Can you give me two dragons fighting?"
And he
which
did.
I thought was cool.
It's amazing. My favorite part is just the tails going up the neck. I think is so cool, and the dragons being very different in design. And this is when
playing double necks is a lot. I mean, it's just a lot of guitar.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
It's a young man's game. So this is the first one where we started associating them with an anniversary.
Look here. There was,
Yep, that was a nice touch.
I didn't know. I didn't remember we did that. All right, let's get out another dragon. So Mark, what do we have here?
This one should be the 25th anniversary dragon.
This is the one that you have to stare at. It's like a 3D painting.
It's hard to pick up on at first, but once you see it, you see it.
Oh wow! Look at that.
It's kind of similar to the
I had forgotten.
single cut one.
I remember being in final assembly and looking at one of these, and I couldn't understand what I was looking at. All of a sudden, it would pop, and I could see the whole thing.
And this is the first time we used a Santana body shape for a dragon.
I always liked this one.
Yeah.
I've always had a kind of an affinity for those drawings that pop and you see this 3D thing, which
Right.
I always liked about this one too.
They've all been very different. I mean, the three fingerboard ones, even though, well, this is the fourth fingerboard one, I guess, but they're just so different from one another, even within the same constraints.
This one went up on the truss rod cover too. That was the beginning of doing that, right?
I think so. I don't remember seeing it before that.
Well, here we go. We're going to keep going. All right. All right. So, Mark, which one's this one?
This is the 30th anniversary dragon.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
on the body. This time.
I thought that one was really cool, too.
That's
Because it was
really
the
neat.
first time we did Diker Lamb.
Yep.
So Diker Lamb is this really cool bent metal film in plexiglass. And it's wild looking. I mean, it's just got this iridescent kind of opal-y thing to it that
Yep.
I thought was cool.
Yeah, there's nothing else like it for sure.
And the dragon's wings on that one are these kind of like feathers.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job drawing
It's like a hippie dragon with feathers.
like a hippie dragon.
Yeah.
I have to think.
That was a
Aren't
hippie
they
thing,
all,
wasn't it?
Aren't all the dragons hippie guitars?
I don't know.
Did you have long hair?
I had long hair, yeah.
Well,
I was
you
beyond
were a
that.
musician. You weren't a hippie.
Yeah, I was
a
into
hippie.
metal. I was like, I was a metal kid.
No, that's not hippie. I was a hippie. Except I didn't smoke pot in high school.
I didn't either.
Nah. I still like the wings on this thing. But
Yeah.
let's put this one away. I got another one. I'll
very
put on the
muscly,
table.
too.
It's very, well,
Those
that was the
muscles.
idea. It had enough strength to fly, right?
Right.
Can you put this one
I
back?
can.
I'll grab something else. So here's the new one, Mark.
Beautiful. It's our 35th anniversary dragon that we just announced at NAMM.
There's stories about this one, too.
Yep.
When we first did this, we did this on a white fretboard.
Okay.
And so that the dragon would stick out really well.
Right.
And we realized that dragons, in our thought process of this mythological thing, they fly on dingy days. They fly on, days that are, the cloud cover, right?
Right.
And so we
Because they're
found,
shy?
well, I don't know. There's a really good Matthew McConaughey
Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire,
Yeah.
and it's all really sooty and,
They have even better vision at night.
So we found a wood, the Zirconi, that did that. But
Right.
then, in order to
It's
get the
kinda
dragon
ashy.
to stick out, we surrounded all the parts with little teeny
outlines.
things of outlines, right? And then the first dragon, the flames went all the way to the top, and the bird was burning up, and that looked kitschy. Is that what? So it's yeah. So we changed that,
Right.
and we had thought about doing it on a black fretboard, but that didn't work either, and this just seemed to work. So then we had this beautiful red and blue top, but
Right.
the thing was exploding with color so much it was taking away from the
Detracting from the
dragon.
dragon, yeah.
And we came up with this beautiful dragon's breath,
It's like charcoal dragon's
charcoal to light charcoal thing that I really
breath. Yeah,
like.
beautiful color. I think it's pretty remarkable. I love the claws, like the gradient on the claws is really beautiful. And
So that's holly that has been burnt. You put it in
Right.
sand and you burn it.
right, that's a really old furniture technique
Yeah.
for doing marquetry and stuff.
I think that the job that they did getting Jeff Easley's drawing to be an inlay was tremendous.
Yeah,
I think we're lucky that we have this format to do art on. It's a guitar. I think we're lucky to have this thing. It's almost like they used to do art on album covers. It was a big format.
Right.
And then it was CDs, and the format got much smaller. And then you've got this little teeny thing on the computer screen, right?
Right.
But this format remains either the fingerboard or the body or the whole thing. And the biggest one we did was a double neck dragon, right?
right.
Anyway, I think we did good today. But there's so much information in this room. We should just keep doing videos from here. So if you're still watching and you think this is interesting, we have something special to show you, so stay on. This is the tried to be sold out of the dumpster neck. Is that what this is?
That's what it is.
All right, so basically, they had a real one when they got it, but the smashed one was this one, right?
Yeah.
And somebody went into the dumpster and got it out and tried to sell it, and we got it back. And one of our employees took it home and put it into storage because we didn't know what to do with it. And now with these videos, the thing has come full circle, and it is back. I remember us doing this. I mean, there it is.
Yeah, I remember it too. And when it was first done, it was very convincing.
From about a foot or two.
Yeah,
right?
a foot or two away, it's like it looked real.
Well, this is faded as well. It must have gotten wet at some point, right?
Yeah, you can see some water damage up here too.
That's great. Somebody put a nail in it, so it looks to me like they actually tried to reassemble the guitar and sell the guitar as a guitar again.
Nice.
Well, there you go. Airheads.
Elbow bump.
That's elbow bump. See you guys.